Hey guys, this is Erick Landon, welcome to my second channel. Today I'll be covering 10 great hidden gems on the PlayStation 4 that I really enjoyed and recommend to you. So without further ado, let's begin! Number 10, Horizon Chase Turbo. I'm not really into racing games, but if I had to choose one of the very few that I like, is this one. It's a Brazilian game inspired by the classics Outrun or Top Gear, released on PS4, Xbox One, Switch and modern computer systems. I obviously played the PS4 version, a game I gifted to my buddy Oscar. He loved the game and I clearly saw why. The graphics look absolutely beautiful and the stages are very different each time. The controls are also superb. I usually suck balls at racing games, but I managed to get into this one quite easily. I'm not sure why this game isn't more rated and well known, could be for many different reasons that I disagree with. It's excellent and I strongly believe it needs more attention. Number 9, Lumo. Lumo is an environmental puzzle released everywhere, developed by an indie studio. Obviously it's a love letter to Solstice on the NES and it often feels as if it was a remake of it, because it plays in an isometric view and its puzzles heavily involve platforming, except here they're fully in 3D. The music is what really stands out here, composed by Phil Nixon. It was such a big deal, the soundtrack was released almost 2 years before the game itself. I can see why, since most of the time, the music is what drives you to keep playing the trial and error. It's extremely challenging though, but fortunately you respawn in every room you die. Last but not least, there's a lot of secrets here, hidden rooms and even minigames, so that puts a heavy emphasis on its natural exploration. Great game here. Number 8, Caladrius Blaze. Caladrius or Caladrius, whatever it is pronounced, is a vertical shoot-'em-up with heavy fan service and a story-driven adventure. It was first released digitally on the Xbox 360 and later ported to the PS3, but that version stayed in Japan. That is until its re-release on the PS4, Switch and PC a few years ago. The point of the game is to play as any of the many playable characters and complete their arcs. I beat it with 3 characters and didn't see much change, so I'm not sure what happens if you finish it with all. Controls are amazingly responsive, as are the triggers, the weapon switching and the bombs. It's honestly everything you want in a shoot-'em-up. However, there's a lot of eroge here, since every time your character gets hit, your clothes get ripped off. Same applies for your enemies, but only if they get a major hit. The music, like in most shoot-'em-ups, is masterful. So overall, it's a fantastic game and a great combination of ecchi and shooter. Number 7, Blade Strangers. Blade Strangers is a crossover fighting game featuring many characters from indie titles or games published by Nicalis, most notably Shovel Knight and Cave Story. It even has the guy from The Binding of Isaac, so for that reason it should be more popular, but I guess including several characters from pretty much hidden gems that no one knows about makes it obscure. Hell, it's got Solange from Code of Princess. It's an incredibly well done 2D fighting game available also on PC and the Switch. It's more of a combo-based fighter where you can create several attacks in a row by pressing just a few buttons. I love these types of fighting games as I'm usually bad at technical fighters like Tekken for example. This is a great game and one of my favorites of the genre in this generation. I don't think it has the recognition it deserves. Number 6, Dusk Diver. Dusk Diver, also on the Switch and PC, is a 3D beat-'em-up with some small RPG elements. You play as a high school girl called Yumo in a quest to defeat the mysterious phantoms attacking the city through dimensional breaches. Later you'll unlock other guardians from the same group she fights with, and you can play as them too. What I like about this game the most are the controls. I grew up with 2D beat-em-ups, so I often have trouble with 3D beat-em-ups unless they're hack and slash. The attacks, skills, combos are very satisfactory here, so I was pleased to see it working so good. Music is alright and so are the graphics, so no complaints there. If anything, it can get somewhat cryptic sometimes when you're questing around town, but nothing game-breaking. Strongly recommended this one, especially if you like 3D beat-em-ups with some action RPG element. Number 5, Deception 4: The Nightmare Princess. It's an expanded version of the original PS3 release, so it's the definitive edition to play. It includes new features like new traps and a second playable character. Now, it's the 4th game in the Kagero Deception series that started back on the PS1. The goal is to unlock more and more traps as you make progress, in order to put them on several different places of the areas you'll play in. By strategically positioning these traps, you can attack your enemies and create combos to kill them faster. You need to activate them at the right time though, obviously when your enemy or enemies are passing through. It's very fun and you can be very creative with all the traps at your disposal, or you can just rely on a few that you have mastered already. I recommend this hidden gem if you want something very different from any other type of game out there. Number 4, Chicando Soul Eater. This is a Korean bullet hell also released on everything. It got a physical release and a limited edition, but it's very hard to find and somewhat pricey. It's influenced by Korean and Japanese folklore and mythology, so it's very spiritual, with bizarre demons and strange creatures as you can see with some enemies and bosses. Controls, music and difficulty are superb. Obviously, like most shoot 'em ups, it's quite challenging, but with several difficulty options. The 2-player co-op mode works really well here, even though sometimes it's hard to distinguish what the hell is going on with so many bullets. But that's exactly what makes this so appealing. This is actually my favorite shooter, even though it's still a genre I'm getting more and more into lately. Number 3, Sakura Wars. Because it's not even 2 years old, it might not be as obscure in its RPG niche, but for the rest of the world or the average RP gamer, it's definitely what I'd call a hidden gem. And wow, quite the unique experience. It's been announced by Sega as a soft reboot of the franchise, a series of games, most of them being Japanese exclusives. But in reality, it's a sequel to the original Sakura Wars, but with new characters and a different conflict. Now, this is a cross-genre, exclusive to the PS4, mixing visual novel, action RPG, puzzle and life simulation elements during the 1940s in Tokyo. However, it's so interactive, you'll make decisions during its hundreds of cutscenes and conversations. Battles will occur in area-crawling maps as you advance from point A to point B, hack and slash here for sure, but with great controls and satisfying gameplay. If you want to play something completely out of the ordinary, give this one a chance. You don't need to play the others to understand this one. Number 2, Under Night in Birth. This 2D fighting game was originally released on the PS3 and PC, later it got some updated versions on other systems. One such version is the PS4 release, which I think it might be the best of them all. 3 developers were behind this fighter masterpiece, including legendary Arc System Works. Like Blade Strangers, it's more of a button masher than technical, so I loved it. Usually I can only play well with a couple of characters in fighting games. Here I got into several of them with no issues. But it isn't a mindless masher. You have 3 buttons for its light, medium and heavy attacks. They can be used to cancel your enemy's attacks as well. A GRD system is also there to manipulate in order to increase offense or defense. I love the controls here, the graphics, the music, the character design and the variety of moves. Definitely one of the best fighting games of this generation and criminally overlooked. Number 1, Cosmic Star Heroine. Out of all the indie RPGs I've played, this one still stands as the best. Like many, it's influenced by the 16-bit era of the genre, and I noticed some strong vibes from the original Phantasy Star Saga. First, I gotta mention that the music by Hyperduck Soundworks is incredibly good, my favorite piece being the boss battle theme. The game brims with personality and style not quite found in most indie RPGs. It also goes straight to the point with story and characters, while trying to avoid filler dialogues and unnecessary cliches. I wish there could have been more development for them, but it's an indie RPG, so that's okay. Battles take place in turns with a variety of weird skills and spells that you can actually change. The more you advance, the more of these character personalized skills you will get. Released on PS4, PC, Vita and Switch, this indie masterpiece deserves more attention. I fell in love with it and have since then beaten it 3 times. Alright, that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't, along with the notification bell. See you next time with more obscure games.